From the Pete Hanna Center on the campus of Samford University, the Bulldogs play host to the Catamounts of Western Carolina. Welcome to Birmingham, everybody. Along with Bill Jones, I'm Chris Stewart. Great to have you with us for this Southern Conference matchup. You got two teams right now, Coach, headed in different directions.
Well, we got the bottom of the league, 2-8 record with Western Carolina, struggling to get up into the middle, so the tournament's coming up at the end. Everybody's in the tournament again. Samford is trying to advance themselves, get up, see if they can get to that second position, they get by.
Take a look at some impact players for tonight. And we start with Western Carolina, player who makes it as difficult on the opposition as he does the announcers with his name, Abubakar Mutombo. Yes, Dikembe Mutombo's nephew, making a name for himself.
6'5", 190, redshirted junior. He's got the pedigree. He's got the Mutombo name. He is a good player. He's a guy that causes a lot of trouble because he's inside out. He can go post up. He can go outside and shoot the three. Very athletic.
Wyatt Walker on the other side for Samford, one of the top players in this league and one of the best rebounders in America.
Mr. Consistency for Samford. He's a guy that's a double-double guy. He's had 12 all year. He's the guy when you sit around in the coach's locker room, you talk about the matchups that you got on the floor, and he's the guy that you say, well, I don't know about this one and that one, but I can tell you this. Wyatt Walker will get his rebounds and get his points, and that's the kind of guy that the coach loves.
That's the key matchup on the floor. For the matchup on the sidelines, we welcome in the third member of our crew, Hattie Brees.
Hey Chris, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about these coaches tonight before we tip off. And for Western Carolina University, that's head coach Larry Hunter. Now Coach Hunter is currently in his 12th season with the Catamounts. However, this is his 36th season overall as a head coach. Last year he was inducted into the Ohio Basketball Hall of Fame as 30 of his 45 overall coaching seasons were spent in Ohio. So a coach with lots of experience here. On the other end of the bench is Samford University head coach Scott Padgett, who is currently just in his third season with the Dogs. However, this is his first season with a team made up entirely of his own recruits, so he's finally been able to make this team his own. He played his college ball at Kentucky under head coach Rick Pitino and was a first-round NBA draft pick. So, Chris, tonight we have a classic matchup of Cats and Dogs.
That we do. The Catamounts and the Bulldogs of Samford. Let's take a look at our starters for the matchup. We talked about Mutombo, but also Devin Peterson at a guard slot, one to keep an eye on. But for Samford, Kristen Cunningham really is the straw that stirs the drink.
Well, he's 11 assists away from being the all-time leader at Samford. He's just one of those guys that can score when he has to, but he's also going to deliver you the basketball. He's got to always stay ready on the floor if you're playing out there with Kristen. And
Demetrius Denzel Dyson at 15 points, just over 5 rebounds a game. Another key player, Denzel Dyson, to transfer from UMass, actually leading Samford in scoring right now. It's a veteran crew. Carl Hess, Ricky Hartzell, Matthew Porter, the three-man crew working tonight's matchup. And this is a game that, again, has got to put a little nausea in the belly of Scott Padgett on the Samford side.
I promise you right now, Scott Padgett's more worried about this game than Coach Hunter is, because they're on the bottom, they're playing loose, they got to get up a little bit. This is a game that could give Samford an opportunity to push toward that second spot in the league, and the first spot's still under contention, so it's a big game for them. They got a hope right now that defensively they're good enough to keep the shooting percentage down there. Western Carolina comes in shooting 37% from the field. They got to try to hold that down as best they can. They had a tough outing up at Western Carolina because of the shooting of Western Carolina at home. I mean, it hit 10 threes, so can't have that here tonight, or we'll have another one of those games down to the wire.
And we have had a few of those this year here on ESPN3. Western Carolina in the purple, Samford in the home white, and also stat keep an eye on turnovers. Western Carolina turning it over 16 times a game. Samford can overcome the 13 and a half that they commit on average because they get so many possessions and they will score at a high clip, currently averaging 78 points per game, only 59 for the visitors. As Samford gets possession first, Denzel Dyson on the wing as Western Carolina starts off in what almost looks like a matchup, Coach.
Well, they're switching. Everything's switching. And, we're going to see a contrast tonight, too. Western Carolina's got to be able to play as Wyatt Walker goes to the basket and converts, which has got to be the strength. Everything's going to be for Samford, I think, inside out tonight because of his mismatch down there. But Western Carolina's going to have to run against a a match defense on this end, that they get a basket right off. But it's hard to do because you don't know what to run. You run your man offense or you run your zone offense.
Matumbo answering a 2-2 ball game, and a nice job by our impact players, making us look like we know what we're talking about right out of the gate. They both convert for their respective teams.
We had the script.
We did indeed. Cunningham, the nice look down low. Walker tried to finish with a dunk, but it slipped out of his hand. And here's Western Carolina coming the other way.
Well, a lot of times with the switching man-to-man, you have problems with ball screens, and Western Carolina had one with that one. White was wide open, but he couldn't get the conversion. Samford starts a little confusing, too, for Western Carolina in that they're in a straight man-to-man now.
Matumbo, a nice feed to Sled. The lefty layup, though, won't go. And Alex Thompson clears it for the Bulldogs. Couple of misses right at the basket for each side. Cunningham finding Thompson. And Samford loves to get him going early.
Well, I tell you, that's a big shot, too, not only for Samford, but for Thompson, too. He's had some rough games and a few outings lately, and he needs to get off to a good start for Samford to get off to a good start.
He is not their top scorer, but at 10.5 points per game, Samford tends to play better when he is in double-figure scoring. When he's at that average, they're a tough team to beat when he provides that third double-digit score as Matumbo gets the second chance opportunity and gets his second bucket of the night.
Well, it is a team now that rebounds the ball well offensively. They're averaging 12 or so a game, and 12 offensive rebounds means at least 24 to more points a chance to get. So you cannot allow them to get on the glass. Samford had that basketball, couldn't hold on to it, and Western Carolina converts it.
Nice inside-out play right there, but Thompson can't convert. And Western Carolina down one with a basketball. Peterson to Sled. And now Matumbo again.
Sled's a freshman. He's had 2 opportunities already down low, but I think Wyatt Walker has bothered him some, a little bit bigger than him.
Chambers had a hand on the rebound, but gets knocked away from him and out of bounds by the Catamounts. Samford will get it back, and they'll make their first change. Not uncommon. Tristan Chambers checking out early, and Justin Hopkins checking in for the Dogs, along with number 3, Josh Sharkey. He's just a freshman from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 5'10", 170. His motor stays on high.
Well, he is high energy, and what he'll do is he'll get in the lane. I haven't seen anybody could stop him from getting in the lane all year. He causes a lot of trouble. There's a turnover. Hopkins going to the basket, and he turns the ball over, but he is a penetrator from the word go. Maybe another reason he's out there. That's an offensive foul that wasn't called.
The steal by Demetrius Denzel Dyson, but the Dogs give it right back.
Well, the Cardinals saying one thing you don't ever want to do is have a turnover after a turnover. You don't want to get the basketball possession and then give it up.
Nice give there to Sled. He'll get the layup. Matumbo on the assist, and Western Carolina takes the 1-point lead.
Seems like both teams have got an inside-out orientation tonight. Both teams are looking for that inside basket.
Cunningham on the miss from 15. Here's Matumbo again. Working it to Sled again, but the quick hands of Josh Sharkey, and he will bring it himself the other way and trying to go coast to coast, draws the contact, and he'll go to the line when we come back. 15:50 to go here in the opening half of play. Western Carolina, a 1-point lead here in Birmingham. Four minutes, 10 seconds into this one. Western Carolina, 6-5 lead over the Samford Bulldogs. I'm Chris Stewart along with Bill Jones. Let's check in with Hattie Brees.
Hey, Chris, before we get too far into this, let's talk a little bit about the series between these two teams. So this is the 19th meeting of the Catamounts and the Bulldogs, and the second for this season. Currently, the Cats hold a 10-8 advantage. However, Samford won earlier this season in a tight win, 70-65. Samford currently owns a 5-home game winning streak against WCAU. So the stats would tell you it'll be an interesting game tonight.
Should be, Hattie. And Bill, this is one where in that first matchup that Hattie referenced, Samford had a big lead and let it get away and had to rally late to win that by 5 on the road.
You're right. 16-2 run by Western Carolina late in the game, or in the middle of the second half. You see Sharkey with another steal, which is he's made himself prominent with in the league this year. He's number 1 in the league in steals. He makes that steal on a pass to the post, trying to convert it into basket on the other end. I think it's one of the things that the coaches would like for him to do is recognize there's a nice play, nice basket by Yahim Olsey. But it's when you get into the lane, penetrate, sometimes you can't take it all the way to the basket. You got to give it up.
Walker trying to back his way down. Off the bounce, Demetrius didn't tell Dice. I'm not really sure how you stop that, Coach.
No, you don't.
Well guarded.
They're in a straight zone that time, and anytime you move the basketball as well as Samford did that time and reverse the ball back to him, he's got an open shot, and he gets it off quick, and he'll knock that down. They can't give him that all night long. He'll make too many from there.
Tie game, 8 apiece. Peterson, the strong drive. You don't see many people beat Sharkey off the bounce, but he was able to blow by him right there.
Well, up until this point, we've had no outside shots by Western Carolina. I know that's by design. They're going to attack the basket. They're going to mix their defenses up. They're in a man-to-man now. They're changing them to try to keep you off balance, and they want that penetration and that low block.
They're going to call the offensive foul on Kristen Cunningham. That'll be his first and the team's first. Only the second foul that we've had whistled in this one. 14:23 to go.
Devin Peterson on that last basket by Western Carolina. A really nice penetration. Good crossover dribble, goes right to the hole. He caused some trouble for Sharkey because he's got him outsized at 6'1".
Peterson from 16 can't get it to drop.
Another second shot.
They have done the job on the glass. They've now had 6 rebounds, doubling up Samford so far on the boards.
Well, I'd say Olsen coming off the bench from a foreign player from Turkey has made an impact.
Alex Peters, a local guy nearby Mountain Brook, Alabama.
That's that ball screen that they're having trouble with because they both try to play the basketball, and the cutter to the basket is open. He's been that way twice.
Samford's gone zone. So what are you looking for out of this?
I'm looking for trouble for Western Carolina. That's a charge not called down the middle of the lane, but they're trying to force them to take the outside shot. They're giving up too much penetration. They're giving up too much on low post stuff. So Samford goes to that, try to force the outside shot a little more, which they have not been very proficient at. They're 29% from a 3 for the year.
They whistled that one on Tristan Chambers, the freshman out of Cold Springs, Alabama, for the Bulldogs. And it sends Mutombo to the stripe. He's only a 54% free throw shooter on the year. Again, averaging 10.5 points, 5 boards.
Got a little bit of a knuckleball from a free throw line. Ball doesn't have really good rotation, so any kind of like pool, anything that contacts that rim up there is going to go to one side or the other. Not those two there. They didn't hit the rim.
He was able to put that one side pocket, no problem. 14-10. Western Carolina, biggest lead early on for either side. Samford's Terry Brutus has checked in, but again, it's Sharkey able to get to the basket, and he's able to pick up his first points.
Well, a lot of times guards don't look on that play. They make that cut, but they don't look. Sharkey looked. Brutus saw him, made the good pass, good interior pass for a layup.
And then Sharkey on the reach on the other end. Ano Steger out of Upper Arlington, Ohio, number 33 in purple. 6'5" freshman drawing the contact, and we'll see.
Hadn't shown it yet, but Steger now is 42% from the three-point line. He's the guy who can shoot it. You can't just leave him alone. Now that you've gone to a matchup, you got to know where he is.
Good look to the baseline, and then Sled can't get the hook to go. And Brutus with his first rebound.
A strength rebound. He just kind of got his position and held his position because of his strength.
6'6", 250, a transfer from Ole Miss, and he'll use that muscle to get to the basket as well on the other end.
And that's another score off a ball screen. Western Carolina's not doing a very good job of interchanging that, getting the ball stopped for one thing, and they've scored on it 3 times already.
Boy, you can see the scout on Steger. Samford had 2 guys flying at him when he caught the ball on the wing. Rhodes finding Mutombo. That one will roll off, and they'll get Sled for the rebounding foul.
Well, they are crowding it in there, though. They've always got 3 guys going to the offensive boards. That's one of their strengths, and that's why, players usually do best what your coach emphasizes, and it's obvious that's what he wants them to do.
Larry Hunter, 12 years in Cullowhee, North Carolina, 36 seasons overall as a head coach, 685 victories on his resume.
It's a lot of wins.
I guarantee you his reply would be a lot of losses. That's the way it normally works for y'all.
Probably right.
That's what you guys think about as well. And I should say now he has a lot more victories than he does losses. 687 in the win column, only 427 on the losing side in 36 years as a head coach. As Cunningham, strong move, can't finish. Peters able to get the miss, and he'll go to the line
nice
to shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, you're right. I can tell you details about every loss I ever had. I didn't like any of them.
11:39 remaining when we come back. First half action in Birmingham. Samford and Western Carolina deadlocked. Glad you're with us here on ESPN. Chris Stewart, Bill Jones, Hattie Brees back with you at the beautiful Pete Hanna Center on the campus of Samford University, Homewood, Alabama officially. Just about 10 minutes from downtown Birmingham. Cullowhee, North Carolina is the home of Western Carolina University. Catamounts in purple, Samford in white if you're just joining us. And Alex Peters going to the free throw line. A 73% shooter on the year, 6'8", 225, really gives him some nice minutes off the bench, a little rebounding pop when Wyatt Walker gets a breather.
Well, he really does. He's an athletic 6'8" guy who could do a lot of stuff around the block, but he also gives you that toughness that you need. Sometimes an undersized 6'8" in this league, but because he's strong, he makes things happen down there, just like that offensive board that he just got.
Knocks down the free throw. That is the first make from the free throw line for Samford. The Bulldogs 1 of 4, a little surprising. They come in shooting 75% from the line on the year. Big reason why Tristan Cunningham, Tristan Chambers, 2 starters, shoot at an 89% clip.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And Samford goes to a 2-2-1 because of the turnover ratio of Western Carolina. They're going to see if they can get some cheap baskets on the other end.
And Catamounts have only turned it over twice.
Travel.
Make it 3 times. Carl Hess with the whistle there on the traveling violation. And again, if you missed it at the top, this is a Catamount team that's turning it over better than 16 times a game.
And they are, and they're young. I mean, they had a senior who got hurt out for the year in Pierce Parks, and they're out there with a young team. They're out there with a lot of freshmen, some sophomores. So those kind of things happen when you got young teams. You don't ever know what to expect.
Featurist Denzel Dyson got caught up in the air, wanted to make a pass, and had to unload it. Takeaway by the Catamounts, and they will attack Mutombo with a finish at the rim. Not as emphatic as his uncle, but again, he's giving up about 6 or 7 inches to Dikembe.
He is. I'm not sure 6'5", though. He doesn't look 6'5" to me. He looks 6'4". That's still a lot of springs for a 6'4", but Dyson's got some size on him. Dyson takes him back door and lays the ball up and gives a little bit more of what Dyson can do, too. He's an inside-outside guy.
Made a 3 earlier, and now that bucket, he's got 5 so far in the ball game. Maurice Smith having checked in on the last dead ball for the Catamounts. Nearing the midway point of this first half. Samford up 1, and now a chance to add to it as they force back-to-back turnovers by Western Carolina. or I should say on 2 of the last 3 trips. Chambers, known more so as a three-point shooter. If he can add that with some consistency to his game, he's going to be very tough as his career develops.
Oh, he really is. I thought he traveled on the initial move, but he should have taken the 3 when he got it. And the matchup zones caused a lot of trouble for Western Carolina.
Smith with a jump stop and a nice move to the bucket. And the Catamounts regain the lead. This one seesawing back and forth a little bit. 5th lead change already as Denzel Dyson can't get it to go.
Well, Coach Padgett's buying a lot of time for Wyatt Walker. He's been out for a pretty good while, and I guess he's trying to save him down the stretch as long as the game stays within 1 point.
We played 6 of the now 11 minutes that have transpired here in the opening half. Nice feed down low, and 2 free throws upcoming for Mark Gosselin. That was a beautiful entry pass coming from Peters.
You're exactly right. It really was. Anytime you can make a pass and then make a cut to the basket against any type of zone, you got a chance to get it back, and that's exactly what they're doing. They've done that 3 times now in a row. First 2 times resulted in a turnover. That time he gets all the way to the basket.
Gosselin knocking home the first. He's a 79% free throw shooter on the year, but as a squad, they're a little below 66% on the season. Jason McMillan, freshman out of Cherokee, North Carolina, number 3, checking into the game.
Yeah, Gosselin's a 6'7" sophomore out of France and has a really nice shot. He's 31% from the three-point line for a 6'7" guy. That's pretty good delivery, especially since they're only shooting 29 as a team from there. They got a couple of kids that can really shoot it.
Thompson looking for his second 3 and finding it from the left side.
Well, that's that ball screen again. You know, that's the 4th time now. That's a little pop out by Thompson off of that ball screen by Wyatt Walker, and it delivers points for him every time.
Samford's pressure causing all sorts of trouble. 10-second count that frankly came just before. They would have gotten the turnover anyway as Western Carolina
they would have
thrown it away.
They got the slap ball down on the front for one thing. That caused a dilemma for them because they got to run, get it. They know time's running out. Then they get another trap. Good trap by Samford on the sideline. They got the sideline to help him, and he's just too small to throw out of it because of Alex Thompson. Couldn't throw over that 6'8", so he threw it away.
Sharkey and Walker. Down low to Cunningham. It's not often Cunningham's got a size advantage where he can post up, but he had one on McMillan. Good help defense, though, by Western Carolina, forcing another Samford turnover. That's the 7th by the Bulldogs already.
Jason McMillan in the ball game for Western Carolina, a 5'11" freshman, the one that made the last turnover, has not had a lot of playing time for Western.
Matumbo's had a nice half so far.
Sure has. Kind of a little set shot, but he delivers on it. He knows when to shoot it. He didn't get it off in traffic, but he can get it off when you're away from him. He's had a nice game so far.
Averages 10.5 a game. He's already got 11. Thompson, though, able to answer back with a short corner jumper.
Yeah, nice little peel to the corner after that ball screen, and another just about turnover for Western Carolina. They have trouble with this press.
McMillan open for the 3. That one pops out. And the rebound for Thompson, and a nice look ahead. Demetrius Denzel Dyson on the finish.
Nice hit ahead. Nice pass. That's one thing they have to do to get them off the boards. Get them off the offensive boards if you can get transition baskets like that.
Boy, they had a guy at the basket, and Gosselin didn't face the rim, never saw a sled. It was wide open, so they'll have to attack from against the half-court set defensively of Samford.
Walker back in the game down there on Sled, who also came back in the game.
Gosselin short and left on that attempt. And Cunningham, a 2-man game with Walker going. And a nice feed to the cutter. And ultimately Walker left all alone.
Everybody handled the basketball but one guy in that transition. Samford's really good when they all touch the ball one time to get it to the best shooter. That was a nice series right there for him.
Extra pass to Gosselin for the baseline, who can't get it to go, and a rebounding foul will be whistled on Samford. Timeout on the floor, 6:08 to go here in the opening half. Samford, a 26-23 lead here at home at the Pete Hanna Center in Birmingham. Stuart Bill Jones back with you at the Pete Hanna Center in Birmingham. Samford up by 3, but Western Carolina's got a young man who's had a big first half. Hattie Breeze, tell us more about Abubakar Mutombo.
Absolutely, Chris. Mutombo has had a great start tonight. And like you guys mentioned earlier, that name does sound familiar. He is the nephew of former NBA All-Star Dikembe Mutombo, but also his brother was actually a former Catamount as well. Haruna Mutombo played here a few years before he did. And I can tell you by looking at paper that basketball runs in the family, but I could also tell you just by looking at the court tonight.
There is no doubt about that. 11 points for a young man who averages 10.5 per game. I'd like to be 6'5" and have your uncle looking down at you the whole time.
Yeah, way down at you. Mutombo was a giant player during his period of time. And
he was a great shot blocker, Coach, who really developed into a complete player throughout his career.
Another turnover out of bounds by Steger, but Mutombo was one of those guys that you could change your defense because now you can funnel everything to him. Let him go the baseline, protect him hard up top, and let him go because there he is. He developed into a better player seemingly every year.
Walker with a nice spin move there, drawing the foul from Adam Sled. This is a really talented freshman for Western Carolina, native of Roanoke, Virginia, and Adam Sled, but he's going against a veteran in Walker, who's had some success as Samford gets the inbounds play to extend their lead to its biggest margin now at 5.
One thing about Sled, too, Sled was a soccer goalie. Now, that takes a lot of dexterity. I'm sure that helped him in basketball, too, and was a really good one from all indications. At 6'8", you'd think he would be anyway, but you got to have some quickness side to side, too, which I'm sure helped him for basketball.
Peterson, the recipient of the extra pass, and he knocks it down, and Western Carolina back to within 2.
That's what you dread. That's what you hope doesn't happen if you're Samford. You get the shot in the right guy who's shooting 16% from a 3, but he didn't look like a 16%er right there. He shot it and knocked it down.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock, just now under 10. And they're going to call Sharkey for palming the basketball. And Scott Padgett's not happy because he felt like that Sharkey had an option available on the wing.
Too many bounces. He had an option to kick that ball off to Wyatt Walker on the side, who's in a good shot position. He got the backboard used over there on the jump shot, and a little bit too much dribbling.
Under 5 to go before halftime. Western Carolina trying to tie it or take the lead again, but instead they turn it over for the 7th time in the half.
You put the ball on the floor around Sharkey. Big shot by Tristan, but you put it on the floor around him, and he'll get it. He'll touch it one way or he'll get it.
And it turns into points so often on the other end for Samford.
Transition. A lot of players can't go from defense to offense very well, but, boy, he's one. He just about got another one.
Both sides have been able to convert. Samford only 5 points off the 7 Catamount turnovers, but Western Carolina has scored 9 points on Samford's 7 miscues. Steger, little bump after he let go of the basketball. And Samford will push it again. This is what they love to do.
Boy, he's quick.
And can finish.
Yeah, he is so quick. He got that ball. He got that ball the length of the floor.
And Larry Hunter does not like the last couple of possessions. Just like that, Samford has been able to push the lead back up to 7. Another media timeout with Samford on top, 33-26. Glad to have you with us watching ESPN's coverage. (33-26) Samford.
Well, you said the right word, push. They actually push.
Larry Hunter calling that timeout. Bill trying to stop a little momentum, but also just didn't like the way Samford was able to turn defense into offense so very quickly.
Yeah, you're right. Transition defense was his biggest problem in those last 4 or 5 possessions. Samford jumps out to a 7-point lead only on turnovers on the other end, transition baskets on this end. He had to get a timeout to get that stopped. I think you'll see him a little bit more deliberate now. And, of course, to offset that, Samford comes out with a trap. They trap at half court.
But Western able to find the open man as Steger knocks down the three. Talk about, though, despite the fact Western Carolina was able to attack and score, the luxury Scott Padgett has and having a team that can defend with pressure both full and half court.
Well, one of the things that you want to do when you're coaching is you want to make the other team adjust to you. That's the philosophy I think most coaches would say. So he calls a timeout because of transition baskets. What Scott Padgett does, he says, okay, defensively what we're going to do, we're going to go for our press. We want to trap either on the front or on the sideline just to break any kind of rhythm that they may have established. And it worked, except all of a sudden Steger, who's at 42% from the three, is left open in the corner.
Couple of misses around the basket, but a wide open look for Peterson. And boy, Samford very, very fortunate. But yet, you got to give Western Carolina credit. This is a team that's struggling right now, Bill. Just 2-8 in the league, but they are not getting outworked.
Another steal by Sharkey, but they're selling out on that offensive board. I mean, that possession, they had all 5 guys. One of them was in a position about the free throw line, but the other 4 were on the glass. So Samford comes off with that rebound clean. They can take that to the end for transition baskets. They got a little lockup down on the other end. Justin Hopkins kind of locked up with Peterson a little bit. Neither one of them wanted to let go. But another steal by Sharkey. I'm not sure how many that is, but I'd say that's 4 I know of. And another opportunity for a transition basket.
They've got a nice dilemma at times.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out, are we going to play Sharkey and Cunningham together? Is it better to play him in place of? But Scott Padgett's got that formula figured out pretty well by now.
Well, he does, and the problem is you put them both on the floor, you're undersized and at this level. If you look out on the floor, you see 6'5", 6'8", 6'7", 6'7", and a 6'2" guard. So you can go so small that you can't guard them on the perimeter, and that's where Samford gave up some penetration early just because of strength and size. So you have to work that out. It gets even worse than that next year when Justin Coleman becomes eligible. Now you got 3.
That's
that can all play.
That's a good problem to have if you're Scott Padgett. Coleman, the transfer from Alabama. You got Demetrius Denzel Dyson, the UMass transfer. Brutus started his career at Ole Miss, so Scott Padgett mixing in some transfers with players that he has recruited and signed, developed out of high school. That's a nice blend, isn't it, when you can fill in where you need it?
Or you do. When you go out recruiting, a lot of people don't understand that what you do is you're recruiting to your system first. I mean, what do you want? You want players that are athletic and make transition baskets? Do you want people that can shoot? Do you want a big team that can rebound? Scott Padgett's gone out and found guys that fit what he thinks, the way he thinks basketball ought to be played, and he's getting there. I mean, you can tell this team is more athletic up and down, more physical than what they were in his first year here. And he'll be better than this next year because of the players he's recruited that fit that system.
Fit his system and a better understanding of how he wants things done, whether you're talking about the offseason or at the midway point of conference play, as the Bulldogs are right now, and very much in the Southern Conference championship race. But this is one of those they have to get here at home if they want to remain in that picture. Currently just 2 games back. And shot clock late, down to 1, and Peterson just gets it off in time, but cannot convert.
And next year, he'll be able to tweak instead of adjust, which is, boy, it's a lot of difference in those 2 words in basketball.
Demetrius Denzel Dyson is going to get a chance for an and 1.
Well, Coach Hunter not fond of that call, but I'd have to say, he's got his heels inside that circle in that arc, and when you got your heels in there, there's no choice.
When you've got the human equation involved, mistakes can be made, but I've got to think for the officials that does make it so much easier that is something that they can at least use as the reference.
It's an easier thing for them, made it a lot easier for them to make the call, but it's so confusing for fans because I don't think that the NABC has done a really good job of educating fans in basketball in general as to what those two arcs are. I have that question I ask all the time, why they got those two circles down there? And that's to make it easier on officials for that particular call we just saw.
Western Carolina's got to find a way to make it easier to stop Demetrius Denzel Dyson. He is lighting it up now with 12 first-half points. And then on the other end, it will be a charge as Alex Peters got himself outside of the restricted area, held his ground, and Samford's going to head the other way with an 11-point lead, and this has turned in large measure thanks to a 7-0 run over the last 2.5 minutes for Samford. And they have done a great job of shutting out Western Carolina over the last 3.
Well, Coach Hunter wants an explanation, too. He had one call on this end, it wins against him. He got one on the other end, but the difference is that arc, and he's got a really good seat for this game right over there at half court, but he can't see those lines. You and I have instant replay. He doesn't, so I can see his confusion with those two calls. They look very similar. Timeout by Coach Padgett because he wants that 32nd that he's going to lose, and he wants a really good shot right here with 11-point lead. Somebody gets open right here. We can hit a 3 and knock a 3 down if you're Samford right here, and you jump that thing up with a lot of momentum going to halftime.
Kristen Cunningham, tremendous throughout his Samford career. He will leave next season as one of the best to ever wear a Samford uniform.
Coach Padgett going to his three-point shooters. He's got Tristan Chambers back in the ball game. Got Dyson there both in the corners on each side.
Nice feed out to Thompson from 17. A little short of the jumper, and they'll get Peters for the push.
Yep, hands in his back. I mean, that's usually always called. But he got the shot they wanted, though. I mean, you got 4 perimeter shooters out there. Penetration by Dyson, kicks to Thompson. He just couldn't knock it down. Now it rolls to Western Carolina to cut in to this 11-point lead with the last shot of the half.
About a 7.5-second differential, shot clock and game clock. Mutombo trying to split defenders twice. He did it successfully once, but gets called for the walk, trying to do it the second time.
Hard to drive against the zone. I mean, the zone usually in penetration against the zone is 2 dribbles or 1 dribble inside the zone. Then you got to either make a jump shot or kick it out. He's trying to take it all the way to the basket. It's just too crowded in there.
Bulldogs can hold it for 1.
Set play, they're looking for a certain thing. There's the ball screen that's caused them trouble.
And not the way he drew it up.
Opened up.
Not the way it was designed, but Thompson got it to go nonetheless, and that's a big way to end the half. He's got 11, and Samford's got a 14-point lead as Hattie will catch up with Scott Padgett.
Coach, I know this game probably started a little closer than you guys would have liked for it to. However, there at the end of the half, you guys were able to pull away. What do you want to do to keep that momentum going in the second half?
Well, I think the big thing is we got to keep them out of the paint. They're a great offensive rebounding team, and when they drive in that paint and somebody has to step up, it allows them to get free reign, crash, run at the rim. So we got to keep them off the paint. And then we just got to, when we're down on the offensive end, we can't settle for a quick shot, and we got to take care of the ball. When we've worked for a good shot, we've gotten good things down at the other end.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Hattie. And again, a big half for the Bulldogs as they hold Western Carolina scoreless over the last 3:49 of the first half. We're back to Birmingham after this. Chris Stewart, Bill Jones, Hattie Breeze back with you as we get ready for second half action here at the Pete Hanna Center. Samford University, just south of downtown Birmingham. The Bulldogs in white. Western Carolina trying to avoid their 9th conference loss of the year and 17th overall. They've got a Steep hill to climb, though, down 14, beginning half number 2.
They got to find a way to combat this matchup zone other than just offensive boards. They're doing a good job on that. That's
a
the
good
penetration that'll start it. Sure will. He gets by the forward on that ball side and goes right to the basket. A little floater. Nice basket to start the half.
Devin Peterson with that bucket. He's got 5. Wyatt Walker on the inside. He hadn't played a ton of minutes, but I'm not going to say they haven't missed him because he obviously is one of the top double-double guys in the country.
Yeah,
but they've adjusted well, I'll put it that way.
They have. Alex Peters has come off and played really well, very aggressive for them. And, you know, Western Carolina's their dominance is not in the post, so he's been able to rest a little bit there. I thought for a while that Wyatt Walker may have a little health problem there. They were heating up his back when he went out, but looks like he's okay. I watched him during warm-ups, and he seems like he's moving well.
When you're coaching this time of year, you got to play your guys. You got to win. Every game matters, obviously, especially one like this. But do you try to steal a couple of extra minutes here or there for your players that play the bulk of your minutes, knowing that they've still got a lot more basketball to go down the stretch?
Yeah, you do a couple of things. That's one of the things that you do. You look at the situation, the matchups and everything. You buy some minutes for the players that have been warriors for you. But the other thing that you do is you don't kill them in practice. I think you got to – I'm a big day off guy. I gave sometimes 2 days off, and my days off were, you know, if I see you in the gym, I assume you want to run, and I'd take you and run you. But just get out of the gym, go home, rest not only physically but mentally also.
Walker trying to work it back to Demetrius Denzel-Dyson, but Mutombo with a steal, and then Walker a block on the other end. Samford on a run out with Cunningham.
When your point guard goes to the basket on one end and nobody assumes the responsibility of playing full defense, that's what you get. Samford got a easy breakaway basket on a big block by Wyatt Walker because nobody was back.
Mutombo with his first bucket in quite a while. He's got 13 now for the game, but Bill, he had 11 in roughly the first 10 minutes, and Samford's done a good job of neutralizing him since then.
Well, I think the zone did that. They went to the zone. They had a couple of people guard him. Cunningham knocks down a big jumper from the side in his range, and I think that kind of slowed him a little bit because he got the penetration early. You remember he got into the lane for a couple of his baskets. He stopped having to do that and hit the pull-up jumper.
Samford still with a comfortable lead at 49-35. 16 is their biggest, or at 14 matching their biggest of the night, excuse me, and now a chance to get to that number of 16, maybe 17 with a 3.
Western Carolina changing defenses on that possession, went to a man-to-man, and Cunningham recognized that. That's that coach on the floor. He takes the ball right to the basket.
It's a dangerous time for Western Carolina. If they're not careful, this one's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, this is time for good shot selection right here. You don't want a forced up or too quick 3. That's what you want. You want that penetration basket, and, well, he's good at doing that. He's got nice touch around the goal.
Mutombo with back-to-back buckets, and then a foul by Sled on the other end. But Mutombo's the guy they have got to go to right now to almost settle them down as much as anything else.
Well, the problem, though, for Western is he's the only guy right now. He's got 15. They don't have anybody else that's close to double figures. Sled gets another foul. He goes out of the ball game, one that you don't want to get that far away from the basket if you're the post player. But he's to the sideline now for a while.
Yeah, it's his 4th. Nobody else with more than 2 on either side. Wide open look for Chambers, and it is rare that he will miss one of those.
I'm telling you, he has just got a nice delivery of that basketball. Whoever brought him up and showed him how to shoot needs to put on a clinic.
44% shooter from beyond the arc this season, but a make on the other end for the Catamounts. Trying to keep them in this one. But down 15 with just over 16 minutes to go. turnover will give it to Western Carolina. They don't have to get it all back right now, but they got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, they do. Cunningham's penetrating the ball too deep on them. Turnover on that position, but if he continues to get that deep in, and here comes Sharkey, and he's able to do that too. Coach Padgett recognizes that man-to-man, so he's going to put some people out there that can go to the basket.
Thompson got a fingertip on that one. And Cunningham will find a shooter on the other end. Denzel Dyson can't get the roll. The Catamounts can get this under 15 at the media timeout. Hunter would have a little bit of something positive to talk about during the break.
Yeah, and that's a reason, right? I mean, he's a nice shooter. I don't know why he doesn't shoot the ball enough, as far as I'm concerned. Steger is one of those guys at 42% from a three. He's got to move a little bit more and find himself a little bit more range, because he delivers the ball to the basket way too well to not shoot it.
Got it down to 12 again. Cunningham on the drive. He'll have shots upcoming when we return to Birmingham. 15:08 to play. 54-42. Samford trying to pick up its 6th win in conference play. Well on their way when we return. Samford up a dozen. We had the spotlight on Abubakar Mutombo of Western Carolina to start the game, and also Samford's Wyatt Walker. Hattie Brees, the matchup favoring Western Carolina, as Walker's numbers down just a little bit.
They are a little bit. He is at 6 points and 3 rebounds tonight so far, and I know Samford would like him to up those numbers a little bit, but he is averaging a double-double this season with an average of 13 points a game and 10.3 rebounds a game. He's currently ranked 14th in the nation with 12 double-doubles total this season and 12 total in his young career, so maybe he'll be able to pull something off tonight.
Yeah, again, Bill, that ordinarily, if you just looked at those numbers, you would go Samford might be in trouble, but they have gotten so much more from Walker's teammates that hasn't been the factor it may ordinarily be.
And Thompson has delivered 11 points already, shot the ball pretty well, but you got 4 guys with 6, so across the board you got several people contributing, and they've got some breakaways too by their guards, and all those things contributed to the fact that Walker he hadn't had to do a whole lot yet. But his presence is there. Peters played 7 minutes in the first half, which is more than he generally plays.
Steger on the pull-up from 15. And Cunningham able to clear the miss. Bring it himself the other way. Boy, he can stop on a dime. So too the man he found in Sharkey. Chris Stewart, Bill Jones, Hattie Brees back with you at Pete Hanna Center on the campus of Samford University. Samford Bulldogs up by 10 over Western Carolina. Here in this Southern Conference matchup. Catamounts struggling at 2-8 in the league, 7-16 overall, but Bill Larry Hunter's team staying in this one. Thought it was going to get away from them. They clawed back to within 10.
Well, you know, that 16-2 run up at their place in this time in the second half. They made a run this time. They cut 4 points off of it and got it to a 10-point game. But I nearly left you. They gave away tires in the shoot-around. I should have gone up there and shot. One of my daughter's car needs tires right now. That's a great promotion.
Forget about baby needs a new pair of shoes.
Yeah,
you need a new set of tires.
There you go. That's that high pick and roll, boy. High pick and roll. Peters rolls hard. Good find. I mean, they have had trouble with that all night long, that high screen. And give Scott Padgett some credit. He come right out in his first play they ran.
McMillan, the freshman, at the point as Gosselin will find Mutombo on the wing, and he is trying to find some space. In 17 for a young man averaging 10.5 per game. Has to launch that one, though, as the shot clock was ready to expire. And as a coach, you love to see bodies hit the deck.
Yeah, well, Western Carolina is in a tough situation right now. They're down 12. they got to make some things happen. They run the clock all the way down, but they don't get a good shot out of it. So what do? You crash the boards. Give Scott Padgett some more credit, too. That play was nice coming out of the timeout, but he comes down to a change in defense and goes straight man-to-man because he sees them making a little run, and they're penetrating against his zone. He goes to a straight man-to-man. He got a chance now to kick it back up to 14 or 15. Just making them adjust. That's the chess part of basketball.
Thompson, an open look, and knocks home another one.
And now they're 15 and 2 possessions down the floor. Good timeout.
Thompson, 4 of 6 from beyond the arc tonight. He's got 14, and a whistle on the other end. This will be on Sharkey, and I believe that's going to be his third.
Third foul, trying a little bit being too aggressive at half court. That's his third foul. He'd have to go out, but he's got 3 steals already. He had 7 up there against them, and the same things he's trying now, Western Carolina have adjusted to. Coach Padgett got to like the aggressiveness of the play, but, you got to do that without fouling also.
Mutombo, tough move, a lot of contact, no whistle. Smith, though, able to follow it up. Maurice Smith, he's averaging less than a point a game, but he's able to fight, and the freshman from Lauderdale Lakes, Florida, gets his first 2.
Another offensive opportunity, second shot. Alex feels the trigger, and for a good reason.
Dothan, Alabama native, a transfer from Auburn, has had his struggles shooting the basketball, but on the nights he is on, Samford's very tough to beat.
They are. He gives them that extra dimension. 6'8" guy, he drags a bigger player out to the perimeter, and if he's shooting it like he's shooting it tonight, he's a hard guard.
We'll whistle that one on Peters. Or are they going to go with Hopkins? Well, keep swinging, Chris. You'll get it eventually. Tristan
It's
Chambers.
got to be one of the 5.
It's got to be one. When you start doing this for a while, I'm going to guess you've done the same thing. You'll hear a number called, and you'll go to a player that graduated about 5 years earlier.
Yeah. And as long as I've been in it, you're exactly right. Got a 33% free throw shooter at the line, and I can see why. He really stiff arms the basketball to the basket. No, don't want him in the game at the end of the ball game when you got to have free throws to protect your lead.
Yellum Oljai.
He'll have to work on that shot in the offseason.
Thompson, not afraid to shoot from anywhere right now.
Well, they go to the bench and they put in Kyle Rhodes to guard him, and he's got considerable size, 2 inches or 3 over Kyle Rhodes, and he shoots right over the top of him, and he is hot right now during this stretch.
Oljai not able to get it, and knocked out of bounds by the Catamounts. 8:51 to go, and now Western Carolina really in a tough spot. Samford basically all the momentum, and that basket's looking awfully big to him right now as well, especially for that guy.
Yeah, 2 things happen. One of them, Samford goes to a man-to-man to stop their run. Once Western Carolina had to go to a man-to-man to slow Samford down a little bit. Neither one of those have worked for Western Carolina. Alex Thompson with another chance. I don't know. Is that he's got 5 in a row? Or?
I believe he does. But that shot that everybody thinks is easy is the one that he misses.
Yeah. Sometimes in basketball when you're spinning around out there with 10 guys and all of a sudden you're isolated on that line by yourself, that ball weighs 25 pounds and you know everybody's looking at you. He's 80% free throw shooter, normally knocks all those down.
Gets 1 of 2. And the Dogs have their biggest lead of the night. Strong on the baseline jumper with Smith. And now Cunningham. as the seas parted.
That calls for a timeout if I'm Hunter. I don't like any part of that, taking the ball from one end on the rebound all the way to the other.
You've worked a game or two from his perspective, clearly.
That's one of the things you just can't allow. You can't. If somebody takes a rebound off, takes it to the other end of the floor because he's transition defense, I've got to holler at somebody.
8:06 to play. 67-46. Samford, a commanding lead. Back at the Pete Hanna Center, 8:06 to play. Samford with a 67-46 lead over Larry Hunter's Western Carolina Catamounts. Scott Padgett's Bulldogs looking awfully strong.
Well, 64% from the three-point line, 63 from the floor, and Alex Thompson blistering the net for 20 at this stage in the game with 8 minutes to go. You got to feel pretty good about your chances. He's not getting a great game out of Wyatt Walker, but he's able to rest him during this stretch because Alex Peters is playing defensively and rebounding really well. So it's a chance to give him a break from a game, and everybody else seems to be performing.
Nice work inside by Kyle Rhodes, the senior from Lumberton, North Carolina, getting the bucket.
I'm sure the timeout for Coach Hunter was just to, hey, look, let's get back to things we do well. One of them is not floating back on defense. This team runs too well. Cunningham gets the ball in his hands. He's going to the other end.
Another break in the action that we'll take with him. 7:32 to go. 67-48. Samford up 19 at home. You're watching ESPN's coverage of Southern Conference basketball. We welcome you back to Birmingham, Alabama, where Samford holds a 67-48 lead. I'm Chris Stewart along with Bill Jones. Hattie Brees, this is a Western Carolina team that's got quite an international flavor. Absolutely. They've got 3 out of their 15 players who are outside of the U.S. You talked about Mutombo a lot. He's from Ontario, Canada, and their 2 guards are from Europe. We've got one from France and one from Turkey. So like you said, lots of international flair to this WCU team. Trying to find a formula that'll work, foreign or domestic, right now as they trail by 22, and Alex Thompson absolutely on fire. He's got 23 points now tonight. Again, more than half of that coming since the break.
And Rhodes talking to him a little bit down the court. I don't know whether I'd be talking to guys hitting as many as Thompson. I'd be afraid I'd make him mad. He's made everything he shot up there here for the last 3 or 4 minutes. Maybe he's saying, hey, how about letting me just get one on the other end? Chill out a little bit. Boy, it's opening up things for the rest of his teammates. Nice hands by Peters. That's a nice pass by Dyson, but that not one that a post player catches very often. Dyson's been kind of quiet in the second half too, except his defensive performance has been really good. Hadn't needed him. Hadn't been a whole lot of assists from Thompson. He's letting it go. No, screen for Thompson right, screen for Thompson left, and he goes to work. Mutombo, who again has had a good night, can't get that one to drop. And the Dogs continue to run. Reach in, whistled on Rhodes. That transition game has been good for Samford during this stretch. They're getting the cheap baskets on the offensive end and making Western Carolina work. And a technical foul. Whistled on Peterson. Yeah, it's a little frustration on Peterson's part. Not sure what he said, but obviously Potter didn't like it. It wasn't asking if he's seen any other scores around the league. No. No, it wasn't talking about where you're going to eat after this game. It was something else. Rare miss, though, from Cunningham at the line again. 89% shooter is the junior from Georgetown, Kentucky, coming into this one, but only 1 of 2 for him as Demetrius Denzel Dyson goes back to the stripe, averaging 15 a game. He's at a dozen, but and not the best part of his game, and I don't understand why. I mean, if you could shoot 47% from the three-point line, you ought to shoot better than 66 from the free throw line. But here again, you don't know mentally what's going through a guy's mind when he steps to that line. He misses the first. Chance to kick it up to, and misses the second.
Did you always try to teach a guy a traditional free throw look? Sharkey won't get to the line. He'll just convert the layup. And what I mean is I've seen guys that have really struggled less than 50%. Coaches say, look, just go ahead and shoot a jump shot or some version of it. Did you ever vary that at all with what you were teaching?
No, you know what? I think there's a technique that you have to follow shooting free throws, but the biggest thing is, in my mind, that coaches don't do. Coaches don't put the importance on every free throw that you shoot in practice. I think there has to be a consequence to every free throw you shoot. Every time you go to the line, there has to be X amount of pressure on the shot. Here's the free throw. You miss this one, you're going to run 5 laps. Here's the free throw. You miss this one, your whole team's going to run, but you're not going to have to. Something has to stress him a little bit on the line other than just going and shooting. So in a game, every free throw is important, and you have to make every free throw in practice important. So the significance of that comes through, I think, with shooters. And you get past that, then there is a technique and there is a follow-through. We saw Olsen go to the line the other time, and his arms are too stiff. So those kind of things that you'd have to correct. But the basic thing is you got to put pressure on every shot.
There'll be a ton of pressure on this shot for Demetrius Denzel Dyson as he will go to the line. But tell you what, the pressure Samford is putting on Western Carolina, it's been impressive. They have not coasted after they got this lead up around 16 to 18 points.
I'm sure there was some conversation about the fact that they made a 16-2 run on you at their place, and here's why they did. You got a lead and you're relaxed, or we looked at he looked at substitution patterns during that period of time. There was a reason that they came back on you, so they've offset that, whatever that was, and they've built a 26-point lead here, 27 now. With 5 minutes to go, it's been a great second half if you're a Samford fan.
Demetrius Denzel Dyson able to knock them both down, and he's just 1 point shy of his season average of 15. Right off the bench, no wasted time for Elijah Pugsley, the sophomore from Ohio. First trip down, he's letting it go. Chambers.
I think the conversation is, we've got to get points here. We won't be able to get back in it, so let's shoot some threes. Pugsley comes off the bench and says, okay, well, I'm open. I can see the ceiling. I'm going to take this one. And now if you're Samford, you're playing a little bit against the clock. You're not just playing Western Carolina. And you'll see the coaching staff making the let the clock run motion, I'm sure, a lot down the stretch. You just don't want that attempt that they just had. Turnover, no shot, 30-second clock. Run that thing down and get it down to 10 before we start making an attempt.
Alex Thompson likely done for the night. 23 points, 6 of 9 from the arc.
Great
also
outing, boy, he shot
4
the ball.
boards.
He delivered the knockout punch when they needed it.
He really did, Coach. When this was, again, a 14-point game at the half, but Western Carolina had cut it down to 10 with the ball.
With the ball, you're right. Exactly right.
And then all of a sudden it became the Alex Thompson show.
I know I beat it to death. There's that high screen again, and Wyatt Walker and Alex Peters both have rolled to the basket nearly uncontested. Draws a foul that time, but that's been a mainstay play for him as time goes on. Now you want to run the clock if you're Samford, and you run it again.
Shots for Walker when we come back. 3:57 to go, and Samford leads big. 3:57 to go here in Birmingham. Samford University, a 77-53 lead over Western Carolina. Chris Stewart, Bill Jones, Hattie Breeze back with you. Bill, head coach at Jacksonville State University, led them to a Division II national championship and then that program into its transition at the NCAA Division I level. You get a chance to watch a lot of basketball around this state. You were a part of what I really think was a golden era of basketball within the state, both Division I, Division II, NAIA. High school basketball was tremendous in the 70s and 80s. There's a long way to go to get there, but do you get the sense that basketball is making a bit of a resurgence in the state right now?
Well, I do, and one of the reasons is because we're turning out more really good high school basketball players. If you think about who Alabama's signing now, they've signed 3 guys from Alabama. When you get that kind of quality in the state, then the teams have to get better. If you can convince them to stay at home, you got that big elephant in the room with football that you have to overcome, because press is going to cover football. I picked up the paper this morning, and there's 7 articles in there about football. There's nothing about the game tonight. So we got to whip that somehow. We got to overcome that. We got to get a little bit more coverage on basketball. But I do think it's better. I think the athletes are better. I think the coaches in high school are better, and they're getting more done. And I really want to see that. You're 90s of basketball in the state of Alabama. It's good everywhere.
Scott Padgett, though, in his brand of basketball here in the largest city in the state, contending for a league title as he is in the Southern Conference, those are the type storylines that will help draw that attention that you're talking about.
It will. Somehow, somewhere, Samford has got to build a crowd for home. They've got to develop. This is a beautiful arena. There's not a bad seat in here. The student body is across the street because the dorms are right here, and they're not here in mass. I mean, there's a relatively good crowd, but not a great crowd. It could be made much better by 2,000 students. And they're here. Somehow you just got to get them out. But I was at Jack State last night. They got the same problem. There's apathy there, and something has to spur them on. And that somehow that Samford's got to find a way to do that.
Tonight may not be an indication, but recently the East Tennessee State game, a weekend matchup for the Bulldogs where they actually had the largest recorded student crowd that they've ever had for a ball game. So Scott Padgett and his team starting to grab the attention, but all around the country, night in and night out, that is a battle for coaching staffs, but also for athletic marketing departments as well.
You're right.
In terms of how to get that night in, night out interest and attention.
And that was a promotional night. That was sock night. A nice pair of socks. I got a pair of them, but if you got to buy them to get them out, then, hey, you know what? Let's buy them and then hope that our product, once we get them here, is good enough. I wore those socks last night, as a matter of fact. But something's got to get them into the arena. And then your team convinces them from there, hey, you know what? I left that game sweating, and I had a great time, and when's the next game? That's kind of what you got to do.
Foul called on Sharkey.
Yeah, he was going to the free throw line. He thought it was on the other guy.
As we look ahead, and there's a lot of basketball to be played, but regardless of where things shake out within the league standings, I've got to think you are going to be a very unhappy coach if you see Samford on the other side in your matchup.
Yeah, you don't want to draw them, especially with as good shooters as they have, and they've developed depth as the season went on. You saw Alex Peters come in against Western Carolina and played really well tonight. Justin Hopkins comes off the bench, and they got Sharkey. He's going to steal everything you've got if you're dribbling the ball up the floor. So you put those 8 guys on the floor with Brutus, who can come in and give you some physicality around the basket. They're going to be a tough matchup for somebody in the tournament.
Talk about the challenge for Larry Hunter, because we know when the season does come to an end, the regular season that is, comes to an end. You hear the reaction for Tanner Tapp, sophomore who's seen limited playing time, checking in for the Dogs, number 14. But it's the message for everybody when you get to your conference tournament. It's it's the new season. It's your chance. How do you keep your team motivated night in, night out right now.
Well, that is one way that you do it. You talk about the second season going to start once we get to there. We win a couple of games and we turn around the sour taste we've had in our mouth all year. He's got a young team, so and it's not his first rodeo. I know he's done this too, but when you get a young team, you have to keep their morale up as much as you do anything else. You have to convince them that, hey, good things are going to come up down the road as long as you continue to work. If you ever quit working, in college, what I'll do is go out and sign new players next year. So you just got to keep continuing to push them to say, hey, look, there's bigger things down the road. You made a lot of progression from start of the season to now. Things are better. You've won some games. And then you get to the tournament time. You hope their morale is good enough that they don't get into it and get behind early and give up. That's something that you always are concerned about in a season like he's having. He's going to be 2-9 once they leave here. So something has to keep them going.
This game had 6 lead changes in about the first 5 minutes and 4 ties. But Samford put on a run at the latter stages of the first half, and they have not looked back. Peters claiming the miss.
Strong rebound. I really like the way he's played for Samford tonight. He's been tough around the middle, giving them some dominance around the goal. That was a hard rebound right there that he just got.
Hard catch, too, as they work it into the corner for Sharkey. And the tough rudder wouldn't go. He is not very big, obviously at 5'10", 170, just a freshman. But Coach, he's pretty strong. Doesn't have a big frame, but he's got some strength to be able to get shots off like the one we just saw.
Yeah, and that's body control. I mean, a guy can get into the lane. He has to have good hips and good thighs, in addition to his quickness to get in and take that body blow once he gets airborne. His body control once he gets in there is really good. Now, I think he has to be smarter, and he will be. He's smarter now than he was when the season started about, I'm going to penetrate. What do I get when I get in there? I'm in there against a 6'10" guy. I'm not going to shoot over his head. I got to find that other option that I can do in delivering that ball out, and he's much better at that now than he was at the start of the year.
Sharkey 9 points, 7 assists as well. Pugsley from deep, able to knock home the three.
NBA three.
That was indeed a good 26 feet away for Elijah Pugsley.
Pugsley averaging 7.8 points a game for him, but he hadn't seen much playing time tonight.
Good look down low to Peters, and a nice save by the Samford big man, as again they find a way to get to the basket, and very sharp even here in the final 37 seconds.
Well, the team that's on the floor right now is probably the team that plays together in practice every day, so you would expect some continuity out of them. Alex Peters from Hoover, Alabama, you can see on the replay there, gets the ball up. It's foul on the way up.
Eric Adams, 6'7", 215, the junior, as Will said, from Hoover, Alabama. Not able to convert, though, at the stripe. Ashley Williams working it to Devontae Fuller, who gets cut off. So he can't get that one to drop, and you've got a foul. And with 16 seconds to go, the intentional foul called on Justin Hopkins, who clearly grabbed the Western Carolina player and was bringing him down. To his credit, you'll see him hang on, but
he didn't like him taking the ball away from him.
Couple of shots in the ball for the Catamounts, but first one missed by Fuller. That is 1 of 2 for the redshirt sophomore out of Hickory, North Carolina. Final 16 seconds of this one as Maurice Smith gets another bucket. Samford. What Scott Padgett is doing, literally calling off the dogs as they will finish this one up with an 82-63 win over Western Carolina. Samford improving to 6-4 in Southern Conference play, 14-8, or actually 15-8, excuse me, overall on the season, exceeding last year's win total. 15 wins. Doesn't happen a lot at Samford University. Scott Padgett in his third season has done a tremendous job, and Coach Jones, they are going to be a factor heading down the stretch.
They are. They are. If they get all the wheels rolling in the right direction, they did tonight. They had several people shooting the ball. They rebounded the ball hard. The transition game was good. And you have to say defensively they were good too. They helped pretty good basketball teams at 63 points, and over the course of time, got contributions from several people off the bench, which will help them in games down the road. Big win for Samford because it kept them in that top 5 in the league and gave them some momentum to build on.
For Bill Jones, Hattie Brees, and our entire ESPN3 crew, I'm Chris Stewart. And forgive me, trying to say goodnight before Hattie gets a chance to talk to the winning head coach.
Coach, congratulations. Your team did a great job of keeping the energy and effort up tonight. All your guys got some minutes. What did you guys take out of tonight?
Well, I think what our guys got to understand is when we defend and rebound, we're a really good team. We get out. When we defend and rebound, we get out and run. We're hard to guard when we're in transition. And then when we share the ball in the half court, again, hard to guard. Sometimes we over-dribble it and it causes problems. But when we move that ball, tough to guard. We got a lot of options out there, but great job in the second half. I thought it started off slow there, but after the first time out, I thought we did a great job of guarding and got on that run.
On Saturday, you guys are back at home against UNCG, a team you guys have already defeated once this season. What do you want to do to prepare for that game?
Well, I mean, that game is like it was a whole nother season ago. It was the first game of conference. They're doing a great job right now. They're 7-3 before tonight. I don't know what happened in the chat game, but they're a really, really tough team. They got a great inside play, really rebound the ball. It's going to be a battle for us on the boards, and then they got 3 guards that can really shoot it. So we got our work cut out for us. We got to get ready tomorrow and get ready to try to get a win.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Hattie, and the Bulldogs again putting on a show here at home. For Bill Jones, Hattie Brees, and the entire ESPN3 crew, I'm Chris Stewart saying so long from Birmingham with a final score is Samford 82, Western Carolina 63. Watch this entire game on replay as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks. Log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.